Oh, look at those lovely birds that just went by. Good morning. In advance of watching the video herein, please watch my video why the occult banking system must be dismantled. And then you'll have a background for what I want to say herein. I made that video 5 years ago. At the time, I don't think that the world was ready for it, but I'm very heartened by the fact that Trump is clearly considering changing the world's economic system, and I have some better suggestions. So please go and watch that video and see what's wrong. What a beautiful morning. Okay, let's watch the sunrise together, and we'll talk about the gold standard and why it exists, and why neither the gold standard nor the silver standard are solutions to a healthy economic system. Why gold? Well, first let's take a look at the properties of the noble metals. Gold is the most malleable metal, and the other noble metals are real high up there too, with malleability and how ductile they are, how well they transfer energy, electricity, and that has to do with the fact that they're called currency, and they are incorruptible. One would ask, why platinum? Why not platinum? Why gold? Platinum is more valuable than gold by weight. So why gold? Why was that the standard? Well, the value in Hebrew of gold, the word is zahav, happens to be the value of 14, which is the name of David. And that is the same value, well, what kind of a birdie is that? And that is the same value as the word ohev, which is the one who loves in the masculine singular, and ahov, the one who is loved in the masculine singular. So what we're actually looking at when we talk about the gold standard is a substitution for the kingdom of David. That is to say, a kingdom in which those who love and are loved by the people reign supreme, with a substitute that has some of the characteristics that a person should have in order to be able to function well in society and deal fairly, right? So if a person were to have the characteristics of David, and that person were to go out in the marketplace, that person would love people, that person would be loved by people, that person would be able to receive power, that is electricity, easily, but they would also pass it on easily. They would receive the power and give it over. And they would be morally incorruptible. instead of just physically incorruptible. So when people went over to an artificial economic system, they looked for metals that are called noble metals because their properties mimic noble characteristics. So in order to get over to a healthy economy, we don't need metals that mimic cold metals. At the end of the day, they're just metals, right? That mimic desirable characteristics. We need people who actually have those desirable characteristics. So going over to the gold standard is not going to solve our problems, right? The economic systems, when they existed on the gold standard, were certainly, not devoid of abuses, were they? So that's not the solution, to go back just a few hundred years back in it's not even a few hundred years, it's just actually a little over 100 years back to a system that was heavy with abuses. That just set our clock back to less abuse, maybe. I don't think so. In fact, the economic situation for most people, 1913 was pretty awful, wasn't it? Silver is a value of, which is kesef in Hebrew, is the value of 880. And this too is very, very interesting because that is the value of the Hebrew word arim, which means cities, and also, and more importantly, re'im, which means friends. So silver is also very noble in the sense that to do the best kind of transactions, one has to treat people as though they are their friends. And by the way, kesef also means that which is very desirable. And certainly friends are very desirable. They're very precious to us. So rather than going over to a silver or a gold standard, what makes a whole lot more sense is to create an economic system that allows people therein to develop the most noble of characteristics, to be loving friends, to be incorruptible, to receive power, but instead of holding on to it, to pass it on to others. Okay, so just to recap in short, please, you might be interested in watching my video, why the occult banking system must be dismantled, and the information that I've given herein is a suggestion of how to build an economic system that is not occult, that utilizes the best of human characteristics, and in developing the best of our characteristics and putting them to use, we will also develop our higher abilities. The banking system, such as it is, comes in lieu of our higher abilities, using our memories and our imaginations as banks that can be used for investment into building a bigger worlds. So in short, our goals should be, rather than substituting a fiat money with a gold or a silver standard, to develop golden and silver and platinum and otherwise noble characteristics, and create an economic system that incentivizes and rewards and develops and certainly does not endanger one who has those characteristics, so that one need not fear any kind of victimization as the result of developing higher sensitivities, but rather that the economic system that we live in fosters that and rewards it.